Welcome, welcome. So glad to be with you again on this Sunday for Code, the Church of Direct Experience with the Temple of Wholeness. This is going to be a beautiful gathering. We have some lovely humans here with us to share in the collective field, to be in practice together, to remember our innate power and grace and sovereignty and beauty and divinity. Really excited to have you as virtual guests of the Temple of Wholeness. As many of you know, we are a 501c3 charitable organization designated as a church dedicated to the emancipation of the human spirit, the re-embodiment of all that is good and true and beautiful into the direct contact of you, for you, in your own life, and presenting opportunities for you to rediscover and remember your own divinity. We do this in many of ways, but the most present is this monthly experience that we have called Code, Church of Direct Experience, where we get to be in community of practice. As many of you have been feeling the same impulse the way that we have, community is more important now than ever to help us heal divides and divisions, whether real or imaginary, out in the collective, and be a reminder for ourselves and for the larger collective that we are children of something much greater. We are brothers and sisters, and we are not meant to be broken up across imaginary dividing lines that we often paint for ourselves. So we are so glad and honored to have you here with us. So settle in, let your body relax. We're going to start with a invocation by Temple founder Amber Hartnell. I'm going to be leading us through a practice today. And then Amber's going to take us home with a prayer at the end to tie this all up in a bow. And then we'll actually be having a few moments of community connection, because not just do we want to see each other on the screen, but we want to hear each other's voices and hear what each other has to say so we can actually legitimately make connections. So that is the flow for today, planned for about 60 to 90 minutes. And this is time for you. This is time for you to connect back into what is most true, most real, most aligned, and most important in your life. And that is the spark of the divine that animates you, that is so easy in our day-to-day life to lose connection with, but is fundamentally the reason I believe many of us came back into a body in this lifetime, to remember, to uncover, and to shine out into the space around us for ourselves, for those that we love, and those that we're meant to touch and impact. So thank you for being here. Thank you for dedicating this time and attention on a Sunday morning when you could be doing other things. We appreciate your devotion, your sharing and participating in the energy, and we're looking forward to having an outstanding morning with you. Pass it along to you, Amber.
Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you everyone for being here with us today. It's a joy to get to share this moment in time with you, to come together and to be in a shared focus and cultivation together. So I'd like to invite you to just begin to settle into your seat more fully now. And at first, just allowing the gaze to be soft, perhaps a little downward, allowing everything to become a little bit more diffuse in what your eyes are seeing as you begin to shift your attention inwards. And start simply by coming into closer contact with the breath, noticing the wave of breath as it flows into the body, filling you up, stretching you open. And then feel the breath exit as everything relaxes in and down a little bit more fully, breath by breath, feeling yourself arrive more completely into this moment. Now we're going to begin by bringing our attention to the center known as the dantian, just a couple of inches beneath the belly button, inwards towards the spine. And just begin by locating it with your attention. in space. At first, it might seem subtle, but as you hold your focus here, it begins to become more vivid in your awareness. Good. Now we're going to use this as a reference through this practice. So, continuing with the breath, bringing your awareness up to the crown of the head and imagining this aperture yawns itself open more broadly, allowing for more of this source stream to flow into the body, animating you, bringing more vitality, increasing your aliveness. And so simply breathing from the crown down through the core of the body to this Dantian point. Feel the breath swell at this point as the belly expands open. And as you exhale, simply allowing the breath to exit the body and allow yourself to hover at the bottom of this exhale for a few moments, feeling that shimmering, oscillating emptiness before the breath naturally is compelled to fill the body once again as a wave. And just begin by connecting with the breath as a wave. Following the breath as it moves through the body down to this point, holding it here before exhaling and feeling the way that wave wants to move through you to open you more deeply into this moment, to more sensation, to more of the feeling of aliveness. Now, maintaining awareness of this point, we move our attention up to the center of the head. And now allowing the eyes to close to more distinctly bring our attention inwards. And as you hold your awareness here at the center of the head, receiving the breath down into this point, and as you exhale, you simply allow relaxation and an increase of spaciousness. So breathing into this point, receiving life here, beginning to internally resonate the phrase, I am here. And just simply repeat it internally as you focus at this point, centering yourself here. Just notice what changes as you resonate this phrase internally with your focus right here. And with the next in breath, breathing and receiving down to the center of the heart. And once again, allowing your attention to come into a point of focus here at this center. Receiving the breath fully into the heart. And as you exhale, feel that expansion from the center outwards. Again, creating more spaciousness internally. As you once again resonate this phrase here at the heart center, I am here. Now, with the next in breath, once again, we breathe down from the heart, following this current back to this Dantian point below the navel, and drawing the breath into this point. Once again, resonating the phrase, I am here. And feel the difference as you focus at this point while resonating this phrase. Now imagining there's a little pebble here at the Dantian in a vessel of water, and you drop that petal from the Dantian down to the pelvic bowl, and you follow it with your awareness, slowly dropping down until you feel it come into connection with the perineum. And breathing here, receiving the breath all the way down through this pathway, breathing through the crown of the head, down through the center of the head, the heart, the dantian, and allow the breath to swell the perineum. Really allow yourself to feel the sensation of this region receiving breath. And as you exhale, allow a very gentle contraction here at the perineum, just enough that you can precisely locate it in space. And as you exhale and gently contract here, the breath naturally rebounds back up this pathway through the central channel and back up and through the crown of the head. So continuing to breathe in this way for a few rounds, receiving as if Source is pouring down this warm, nourishing, golden light in through the crown of the head. Breathing it, actively receiving down through the body until you root into the perineum, swelling, receiving life here. And you can allow the breath to suspend at the top of the inhale to really fill this area with vitality. Before you exhale and gently contract to encourage the energy to rise back up the central channel, nourishing every center along the way till it fountains back up and out of the crown of the head. So continuing in your own time, staying in intimate connection with the sensation of the breath carrying the energy through your system. Feeling how that wave billows and flows through you. And seeing if you can sense from the core of your body an increase of a glow, an internal radiance that comes from deeply receiving life. And deeply receiving yourself in this moment. Just a few more rounds of breath in this way, allowing every cell to receive the nourishment of this light, this life force. And with this next breath, as you receive it in through the crown, repeating the phrase as a breath passes through these three centers of the head, the heart, and the dantian. I am here. And releasing the breath upwards again, allowing everything to simply settle. Letting the breath return to what feels natural, your own pace and rhythm. And paying attention to what has shifted in these few moments of focused breathing with intent. Noticing if there is more spaciousness present within your body. Noticing if these centers feel in line with each other, in full communication. It's one congruent stream. And overall, noticing the shift in the quality of your inner atmosphere. And to complete, we will bring our awareness to the center of our heart, feeling yourself rest into the sanctuary in your heart of hearts, feeling yourself enfolded by life, present, receptive, and here. Ever so slowly and gently allowing your eyes to once again open, keeping the gaze soft and downwards as we began. Allowing the eyes to adjust to the light, to take in your environment. And lifting our gaze to take in each other with gratitude for everyone present. Thank you so much. And with that, I hand it to you, Matt.
Ah, delightful, delicious, beautiful. Thank you so much. Great way to start us off. Um, as you all know, today's theme is becoming immaterial. So I'm going to make some bold claims here. And in all of these bold claims, as in with anything that we do at the Temple of Wholeness, I invite you to find your own truth within what I say. Nothing that we share is meant to be dogmatic in any way. And the path of emancipation that we're all on means that you have your best thinking, your best wisdom on board. So this pathway, this practice, this journey of immateriality is something that has existed through the decades, through the millennia, all over the world. There's been many traditions, whether the indigenous or the Taoist, the Chinese, certainly the Tibetans, Eastern and Western practices of magic that have talked about people apparating and disapparating, people bilocating, people having experiences of floating, people having all sort of cities or magical experiences. And I think that one of the things that we get the opportunity to claim for ourselves, should you choose that this is true for you, is that I can be this magical. And I think that there's a real service that we get to do by holding that in a grounded and responsible and real way, not in any sort of spiritual bypass or avoidance of the real world, but in a way that acknowledges our divinity and acknowledges our magical and transcendent nature at the same time as we are in agreement to be responsible human beings. So, the way I would like to present this practice today is with a little bit of framing and then recognizing that each of us is going to find our own pulse, our own truth, our own rhythm in this practice. So, the way that I'm framing the immateriality here is that each of us gets the opportunity to wake up into our absolute transcendent unity and connection and oneness with the divine. And there's many steps along that path and along that journey. And in all the traditions all over the world, they describe it as dropping the illusion of that self. So that self drops away and becomes immaterial. And this is work that I've looked at personally for over 25 years in my own practice of meditation and spirituality and esoterics, and over a decade as a healer, giving 20,000 healing sessions and watching people have all kinds of what more traditional people might call peculiar or strange experiences of waking up to their true self, dropping ages and decades of trauma. And then now in my PhD studies in a program called Integral Noetic Sciences, where we look at non duality, we look at the science behind how to have these transcendent experiences. There's all manner of ways that we can plug into the magic that is right here within us and all around us all at once. So, the journey that we're going to take today is about successively acknowledging these sheaths, these aspects of self that feel very real, but are in fact illusion. And as we drop these illusion versions of ourself, we come into something even more tangible and real. And we follow that path all the way up directly into the heart of the divine itself and realize that we were never not that. One other consideration here before we dive in, one of the things that I've learned in the past few years that has really rounded out my understanding of these practices is that there's two paths in spirituality. There's what is sometimes called the path of freedom, which might lead us to this absolute non dual unity experience where we are one with all things. And that often looks at bypassing what is sometimes called the path of fullness, which is the connection with all the non ordinary beings and all the non ordinary realms, and having experiences in our astral self and our mental body, connecting with the Buddhic planes, all of these more esoteric sides. And these are both real and authentic lineages within the spiritual traditions. And should you choose, you don't have to pick. You can have both. And developing and cultivating the practices that give us access to both is one of the great joys of the spiritual traditions and gets to be one of the great joys of your life, should you choose to take those paths. So, we're going to harmonize and synthesize those two paths today, both the path of freedom as we go through a practice leading us into the non ordinary and the non dual, and then also the path of fullness, recognizing that each step along the path, we're transiting through different realms, and these realms are inhabited through a number of different energies and by all manner of benevolent, disincarnate, non physical beings. So, in this way, as we drop the illusion of this smaller and smaller self, we become more real and less physically tangible and material. So, that's my preface. I hope that's compelling. Let's dive in. So I'd like to build on the energy and the connection and the vitality that Amber already set us up with. So dropping out of the mind that perhaps had to perceive all of that conversation and back into the body. The body is a great vehicle, not just through this linear time space that we get to travel in this three-dimensional, four-dimensional realm, but it's also a vehicle beyond. And what that means is if we want to have experiences beyond the body, we can't negate the body. We have to travel through the body. So, my invitation is as you let your eyes relax and perhaps close, as you take deep breaths, to see if you can hold your awareness on the entire being of yourself all at once, as if you were looking at the whole of you in a picture and letting that analytical mind that likes to pick apart, that likes to look at pieces, let that analytical mind relax and just hold the entirety of your being. If there's any places that are asleep or need more aliveness, need to be balanced out, just bring your awareness there and let your awareness lead the way for more breath and more energy. Let the brightness of your consciousness light the way for more vitality of breath, more vigor of energy until the body feels like one uniform whole. And you can acknowledge and choose that to be true. So, not just passively waiting for it to be true, but choosing my body is one unitive whole. No gaps, no seams, no separations, no fracture, no division. I am one. And in that claiming and choosing with the sovereign spiritual self, feel the truth of the body responding and following that command. I am one. I am here. This is me. And with that same level of presence and command, I'm going to invite you to notice the boundary of where you are and where you are not. And as you hold the unity of your being and you focus in simultaneously at the seeming perceived boundary, does it get fuzzy? Does it seem maybe like it's not so definite? And you notice energy beyond what you perceived as the boundary of self. If you can perceive that energy, how is that not you? How is your awareness not there if you can feel that? And as that truth, that awareness, that perception lands in your beingness and your awareness, invite that perceived boundary to become even more fuzzy, even more loose, even more relaxed. And then notice the habit of I and me as exactly that, as a habit based on an illusion of the self as a body alone. And as we relax that habit of perceiving, let the awareness smooth out into the space around you. This habit of boundary of self relaxes, and you permeate into the space around you. As you breathe, the space breathes. As the space breathes, it breathes you. There's no need to hold the habit of the boundary of self. The awareness that is pervasive has no seam, no boundary between outside and inside. It is a field of awareness that the conception of I is floating within, like a cork floating on water. I am a feature of this seamless field of consciousness. I am conscious and it is conscious. I am conscious through it and it is conscious through me. And then finally, just consciousness itself as the I relaxes and drops away. No boundary, no division. Seamless, boundless consciousness. And in this, you may start to feel others in the space around you. You may start to feel other selves, other realms, other spaces. Because within you, within this vehicle, is the vessel that takes you to all these other realms. As we relax even more fully, this perception of being just in the physical world, this habit of assuming we are physical beings. You may feel these other bodies within you, your etheric body, your astral body, your mental body, these vehicles into all these realms. As your body stays relaxed, as the breath stays free, as you are breathed by the universe itself, see which body inside is substantiating and lighting up the etheric, the astral, the mental, the emotional, the Buddhic, the causal. All of these bodies are within you. You don't need to know cognitively what any of them mean. All you need to know is what you feel inside your being. And if one of these bodies is looking for a new experience, is looking to return to the realm in which it resides, and as the boundary of the physical self stays open and you allow your awareness to rest in this internal energy body that wants to move, invite that body's sensing and awareness to come online. Each of these bodies has organs of perception. You have subtle sight, subtle touch, subtle smell, subtle knowing. These are all the clairs: clairsentient, clairvision, claircognizance. And allow the senses of that body to activate. Allow that body to see, feel, experience. Allow it to look around itself in the space, in the realm that it is in. Do you see geometries? Do you see temples? Do you see otherworldly nature? Do you see the whole cosmos and your place in it? And let your body have the sensory experience of immersion within that realm. And notice there may be benevolent others there as well, beings with wisdom for you, beings sharing their energy. And from an open and loving, settled and relaxed place, be a good neighbor and a good citizen of these multiple dimensions and realms that you live in, and acknowledge their presence. Thank them for saying hello. As you allow your awareness to reside in that realm, you can recognize that you are here in the physical and there. You can transport your awareness from here to there. And in that space, there is still an impulse to go beyond again. And in the same way that the boundary of self dissolved here in the physical, allow the boundary of that self to dissolve as well. You may find yourself in the vast spaciousness, the causal void, the nothing from which all things arise, the beautiful, vast spaciousness. We must recognize that we are simultaneously something and nothing. If we are to be everything, we must be this nothing as well. And this nothing is always here. The firm, infinite ground of being, ground of reality, the pregnant aperture from which reality is born. No space and all space. No time and all time. And you may even notice that as you start to hold these dualities and paradoxes without needing to resolve them. All time and no time, all space and no space. We acknowledge and feel the aspect of self that is beyond that because it is all things. We feel our nothingness. At the same time, we feel the fullness of everything. Feel ourselves expansive and expanded in all these subtle realms, these energy realms. We feel ourselves loose and open and relaxed in this physical body. Recognizing each higher dimension proves the illusion of the small self, the illusion of the previous self. Not that it doesn't exist, but in fact, that it is not the only truth. You are a multi-dimensional spark of the divine itself. You have bodies, vessels that belong in all realms. We are immaterial because at any given moment, we recognize that we are in multiple places, but arising from the void, from nothing itself. And these seeming material beings that we inhabit are the dualistic dance of light and shadow. They are real, but not the real real. We're not meant to bypass them. We're meant to make them real and then transcend them. To fully inhabit and embody. And then, like a butterfly, acknowledge our next greatest self as well. My invitation for you is to plant an anchor of consciousness, of awareness in each of these realms. It is often easier for us to access these spaces in community, in connection, in collective. So plant an anchor for yourself of what each of these realms feels like. First, the expanded physical self with no boundary of consciousness between outside and inside. How can you come back to that sensation? And then in the subtle realms, what's the homing beacon you might leave for yourself in that space so you knew how to get back? In the vast, spacious nothing, the void, the causal state, how do you remember that that is the truth of who you are as well? And then holding the polarity and duality, holding it all at once. No conflict between seeming opposites, holding the paradox without any need to resolve. And with all these selves activated, any beings or realms we encountered, just thank, acknowledge, hold gratitude and appreciation. Be a good citizen of the universe. Send blessings, send care. If you're feeling an overflow of beauty and abundance for what you've seen in these realms, cast that overflow out into the space around you, inviting it to land in exactly the right place with exactly the right person, plant, or animal that needs it most. There's things in your life that need the blessing of this open conduit of awareness. From the gross physical all the way up to the absolute and back. Let this open aperture and portal of awareness, let the blessings rush through. As you start to invite yourself back, back, back to this moment, to this now from the infinite and endless now. I'm going to invite you to see if you can wear a smile on all of your bodies. All of those infinite energy bodies in the infinite realms. All of those bodies that we used as vehicles into these subtle spaces, each as they have organs of awareness, have the ability to hold joy and gratitude. So, all of these bodies within you, let them smile so that you are a coherent blessing of joy across all dimensions. We'll come back to this now moment with a few breaths. You may choose to make some sound with the breath. You may choose to let your eyes open. You may choose to let yourself notice. Yes, one of my bodies is in physical space. Yes, one of my bodies has physical organs to see physical things. And even though I'm in a physical body seeing physical things, it doesn't mean these other bodies are not here and not perceiving. That smile, that inner cosmic smile. Be a blessing into the space around you. Speaking of blessings, I'll conclude and invite Amber to lead us into a prayer.
Thank you, Matt. I went so deep and wide. Let's see what words can together here for a prayer. What I'm connected to is from this unified state, connected to all of our bodies, feeling the communication flowing between them, our awareness anchored within them. That any prayer that emerges from the depths of our being and is offered out is enormously amplified, so much more potent from this unified state. And likewise, with so many beings here together, all in a unified state, that it is exponentially amplified. So, from this unified field that we have co created together, I invite you to rest into your heart and resting into the authentic prayer that you wish to offer to this world. It can be wordless, it can be simply an energy of blessing. And the simple prayer that I would like to offer on behalf of us to this greater collective, that in this time where there is so much top down collective pressure and push to focus on what divides us, what is different about us, that we remember to return to what is most fundamental, what is common, what is shared between us in our humanity, recognizing that at the most fundamental level, we all long for the same things: to feel a fundamental sense of safety, of belonging, that we are loved and are able to share our love with those that can receive it, that we have food in our bellies, we have drinks to quench our thirst, and that there is space for us to connect with who and what we are in truth beyond the surface level of identification. So may we simply hold in our heart the truth of our unity, the truth of our commonality. May we see through the illusion that encourages us to separate and divide, and be a beacon that brings together, that stitches the fissures back into wholeness, that gives permission to land in safety, in connection, that we see, perceive the beauty that is here, while so much seems so ugly in this world. And may we be an emanation of that beauty as a blessing in every single encounter. Now, breathing into your prayer, offering it to this world from all of your bodies, across all realms. May we remember the truth of our unity and celebrate the unique differences in the way that this one expresses through each and every one of us as an individuated expression of one being. Thank you. And so it is.